Hi, my name is Amy, aka Warpfiend, and welcome to Bleeding Tree Gaming. To celebrate Orktober, I created Party Pig, and I got to make my own minis along the way. I had a vague idea in my head of something like the doof wagon from Mad Max, only on one of these new big pigs that everyone's been so excited about. I asked around and I went on a little shopping trip and I got some of these little press studs, the snap fastenings. I got some tabletop wire, mesh. I found these 3 little trumpets that were actually part of wedding cake decorations, and there's some other little bits and some Lego. Now the important part is the Lego blocks. These are going to be the cases of our speakers. I've already built up the main body of the pig. You can see the rider I haven't glued on the top of his body. I put these bits on the sides and I'm intending to put some of the speakers on this top bit here and then some balancing on the sides, so we'll see how that works out. First thing to do is clean up these Lego blocks. I'm just going to clip off all the little outside bits that I don't need. Then I'm going to sand them down, trying to get them as smooth as possible. Now these press studs are what has been recommended me as speaker cones. Now if you take them apart, you'll see that one of these pieces is just absolutely perfect for your speaker cones, and they fit inside these Lego blocks so well. You can see there, yeah, it really does give the effect of just a regular speaker. So the next thing I want to do is make loads of variations on speakers. What I've got in my head is like a crazy rave sound system. There's all kinds of things cobbled together and it's very orky in that way. I start by mixing some milliput to fill in all the blocks. This was my first attempt. I end up using some resin in a bit. I think it worked a little bit better. These milliput ones are never quite as smooth as I'd have liked them to be, but they do the job pretty well. As you can see, when you put the press studs in, when the thing's filled, we're starting to get an idea of how our speakers are going to look. I also tried cutting out some of the wire mesh and using this to create some other different variations. I also want to give the impression of some big subwoofers in there, so I cut up some of these diagonal Lego blocks so they're small enough to fit inside the standard ones. Just takes a little bit of trimming and some sanding down. And I just fill in all the gaps around the edge, just with some Vallejo gap filler. I pour some resin in some of the other ones. I'm pretty pleased with the results from these. It's not fully smooth, there is a bit of climbing up the sides, but I like the recessed look and it comes off as realistic. I used a bit of the French horn in one of those. You can see it's just got one of the press studs in it. So I have a bunch of different types made, and it was around this time that Curtis from Ramshackle Games offered to cast some up for me. So with the prospect of making my own minis, I headed over there. The first thing to do was to put my minis on sprues. So I made these out of little bits of plastic card here. can see once I've got them on that, I stick them to just a piece of waste resin. With all three on the sprue, it's starting to look like a proper mini. I then glued these to a base that we can build a frame around. And here you see the completed frames. These frames were then put in a vacuum where they were filled with liquid rubber. Now, I wasn't actually there when Curtis cracked open the moulds proper and cast them, but the results that he sent me were absolutely amazing and I couldn't be more happy with them. Yes, there's some beginner mistakes. These were my first minis that I made after all, but overall they look great. Let's have a look how they turned out. So you can see I've got a bunch of them here on the frames. There's a bit of flash to clean up, but nothing that any experienced hobbyist shouldn't be able to handle. If you want to get your hands on some of these, they'll be on sale on Ramshackle Games website soon. I'll post the link in the comments when they're ready. For now, I just need to clip these all off the sprues and tidy them up. Now you can see we've got our pig here. I'm just going to scrape off some of the details to make as flat a surface as possible for these. I'm going to start by gluing a subwoofer onto the bottom and then a couple of speaker cabinets. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around the model, just keep on covering the entire thing in speakers. For the back, I'm going to build up a mass of speakers first that I'm just going to pin directly onto the file down space behind the rider. I end up using a few more pins afterwards just to secure everything in place. And then I get to painting. If you want to find out how I paint my orcs in this super bright rave colour scheme, you can check the video that is linked in the top corner. This has been so much of a fun project. I really hope you enjoy the beauty shots coming up next. Don't forget to check out Ramshackle Games. Curtis has been absolutely fantastic casting these minis. We will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.